Oh. Hey everybody, and that this was actually my second time. I guess I just cannot resist making that making that sound before I started to do this video. So hey everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again to review The Female Hustler 2. Now, I thought that the first one was pretty good for what it was. And it had a lot of great stuff in it despite the low budget. And it really felt like it had potential in terms of, it wasn't terrible. Like, there's a lot of indie movies that I watch, and it's a struggle to find any redeeming qualities in them. And that's been like the main thing in all of, the director Don Campbell and all of his movies, regardless of if whether or not I like them, there's always like redeeming qualities, and there's always things that I feel like, oh, that was good, that was good, that was good. And so I think that that's pretty good, It's like I'd rather go to a restaurant where I at least like a couple of the menu items rather than go to a restaurant where I don't like anything. And it's like, oh, I there's nothing here for me to eat. Like, nothing here is good, So I am going to go through this movie. Maybe a lot of what I say won't make sense. I'm a little tired. I woke up very early thinking about my movie. And then I just couldn't get back to sleep. So I was a little bored. And I will say, in general, I was bored watching this movie through like 3/4 of it. I would constantly do stuff in the background. I would constantly check the time. I would constantly pause the movie and get up and go walk around and try to reset myself to be like, okay, maybe it'll be better when I get back in there and go for round 15, and it never happened until like the last 20 minutes. And that's when it was better, definitely a lot better. I mean, this is not a bad movie, and this is not going to be a bad movie review. It's just there were some bad things in it for sure. The hardest question for me, actually, is whether or not this is better or worse than Temporary Suspicion. Because Temporary Suspicion, although flawed in its execution, had a really good idea behind it. And that's the main flaw of this movie, I think, is that it felt like, in the first movie, at the end when they announced to be continued, I was like, oh, wow, like he had a plan of like what he wanted to do and where he wanted things to go. He had like a major plan. But in this movie, it really did not feel like he had a plan after all. It reminds me a lot of that shitty, not that this is shitty, but that shitty Blumhouse Halloween trilogy where, everyone thought Halloween 2018 was like a masterpiece because it, ripped off all the other movies. And everyone thought that David Gordon Gay had a plan. Everyone thought that he had some master plan for like Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. And as it turned out, he really didn't. And but the other movies were terrible too. And now he's not even doing Exorcist anymore because he sucks. And so but the point is that like, there's a lot of sequels out there that feel like they don't have a point and feel like they're just there to be there. And unfortunately, this is one of those sequels. It does feel like it near the end, kind of like maybe it had some ideas that were good, but they didn't play with them enough, and we'll get to those because this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review. I mean, look, this movie's on Tubi for free. If you want to watch it, go watch it for free and come back here and have fun with this review. So, let's start off with, actually, there's something I forgot about that I wanted to mention that I found very, very interesting. You go to Tubi. I'm going to put my phone down. That's how I record these videos. The female hustler. That's what I type in. And all of a sudden, what the fuck is this? You got the female hustler, and then you got some great value female hustler called Ebony Hustle, which came out the same year that the female hustler came out. And then you got Ebony Hustle 2, Ballistic Protection, which was probably one of the stupidest subtitles I've ever heard. And that's one thing as well I'll give the female hustler 2, is that there's no stupid subtitle like Ballistic Protection. And another thing is, like, you look at, I mean, what is Ebony Hustle? I mean, what the fuck is that? It looks like a porno. It even sounds like a porno. Ebony Hustle. Like, yeah, I wonder how she's hustling. It's not no algorithm. It's I'll go and do stuff with him or whatever. I don't know. That was stupid. But, like, yeah, that was really weird. I was like, what's up with that? And the poster for the female hustler too. We're going to talk about that as well, because it is probably one of the funniest posters I've ever seen. I mean, just even, it's hard to look at because it's like, it is so genius. It has such a great color scheme and it looks so professional, but it has something about it that is just so funny. They're good posters though, for sure. I really like the posters. So yeah. I'm still working on making posters that look like that. The poster that I made looks pretty good, but I'm not going to reveal it until I make a big change. So anyway, this movie opens up with an opening credits sequence that is a lot like, Dom Campbell is very consistent with his opening credits sequences looking the same, like, in terms of this one doesn't look like a template that came out of iMovie. It looks like stock footage of, like, credit cards and money that's falling out of the sky into some brown abyss. And it was really weird too, the fact that, like, there's this weird, like, imagery of where there's these, like, gold pixels in this abyss of some sorts, and I was like, what does this mean? This is, like, a very weird thing. But then what was really funny was they had all these credit cards, and all of the credit cards said bank name on them. And I don't know if you had to, like, pay $20 extra to, like, put the name of, like, a fake bank that you came up with on them or what, but that is, like, the shittiest thing ever, because, like, it was very distracting, or at least distracting to someone who cares, to, like, have a bunch of credit cards with bank name on them, because it just seems so phony and fake, and that was funny. But anyways, the movie starts off with a bang. And they kind of do this thing where, this scary shit happens and Princess might get killed and she's in the middle of a gunfight for some reason. And how did she end up there? That's a very typical way to start off a movie. And so let's see how it goes after that. This is where the movie gets questionable. We are introduced to some sort of a gangsta, and I'm saying gangsta with an A at the end and not an ER. And he's a gangsta of some kind, and he's got a girlfriend who I will call Cardi B Jr. And I will also call her another thing after I talk about what she looks like in this movie. So her and her boyfriend go into this pawn shop to sell something or buy something, or I think it's to buy something that nobody cares about for the rest of the movie. It's like, what if you had that scene in Black Panther where Killmonger goes to the museum to, like, steal the crap, and then nothing. And then he just buys something from the gift shop instead. That's what this scene is like. It's like, that's totally what it reminded me of. But, like, Cardi B Jr., actually, it's not revealed until she walks out of the building. But, like, they keep you in mystery. They keep you in suspense of who is this Cardi B Jr., and her boyfriend leaves, and she promises the pawn shop guy that she'll give him a large tip, which sounds kind of like she could be a transvestite, in my opinion. Like, that was kind of a weird thing to do there. She could have just said she'll give him some lip service or something. But, like, yeah. Then she gets to buy the crap that she bought. Probably some sort of a jewelry that she got that someone got at Goodwill or something, and the pawn shop guy is just such an idiot that he bought it for $1 million, because, like, that pawn shop guy, it never shows up again. He never, like, there's nothing with that. Like, she promised him, and then he's just like, hey, what about me? I have my needs. I have my old man needs. And nothing happens with him. But then she walks out of the store to meet up with her boyfriend again. And this is where it's revealed that she has, like, a Godzilla-shaped ass. Like, it is, like, the most giant rear end I've ever seen on film. And it's presented on the poster as, like, she is so... Like, it is, like, so monstrous that it is, like, almost bigger than the faces that are on. It's actually... it is actually bigger than this character's own face. It is, like, 3 of her faces in one. It is almost just as big is a character in the movie who gets called Big D. It's almost as big as his face. Like, I'm serious. Like, I will take that. I am going to put that in this video. Take that poster and just cut her rear end out of the picture and then place it next to the guy's face. It is almost just as big as the biggest character's face in this movie. I feel like apparently her name is Miss Raindrop, and like, honestly, like, her rear end should have also had a credit. Because it was so weird too. Like, as soon as she walks out of the store, it's like, oh my god, what is that? It, like, the Princess was scared this entire movie about all these threats, about all these people doing her wrong, and like, honestly, like, this girl was the biggest threat, because, like, literally, and, like, I was, like, really scared that, like, something bad was gonna happen. Like, maybe, like, the boyfriend would leave her because Cardi B Jr. has she's got valuable assets. So anyways, just get a random email about roofing discounts too. What the fuck is that? Okay, so anyways, so now that we're done with that scene, then randomly she shoots her boyfriend and then leaves. It's just so random and out of nowhere. I don't know what that was about. And then I forgot who said this line. I think it's like Omar's with the nerd dweeb guy, and then the nerd guy is like, if losing 1.5 million in 6 months isn't enough to look deeper into the issue, then I don't know what to tell you. That was a really funny line. And then, just randomly, Omar is talking about developing NFTs, which, I don't know when this movie was filmed. It says that it was released in 2022, which is kind of weird because I never heard about it until, like, this year or whatever, and so I thought that Temporary Suspicion was like last year, 2022. So I'm kind of weirded out about that. But like NFT, there's a lot of discussion in this movie. Like, you thought that the algorithm stuff was bad in the first movie. Like, well, in this movie, it's all the talk is about NFTs and cryptocurrency. And the boyfriend actually has a cryptocurrency class that he runs on his laptop, which is apparently his best friend, besides his girlfriend. And so, and by the way, too, another kind of weird thing is like, you know, something that, I don't know, maybe it was too premature at this point, but like, who are the boyfriend's parents? You know, like, if you want to develop their relationship more, especially with the twist that they do at the end, I had no idea that was coming, and I don't think the writer did either. The twist with the boyfriend. But like, if you want to develop that, then you could have had her meet his parents. They have dinner together. There could be some suspense over, oh, well, what do you do, princess? And she could be like, well, I still work at the gas station. I stock shelves. And, do a little algorithm business on the side. And then he could, like, prod her about her business, like, with the parents around, and that could have been kind of suspenseful, I guess. I don't know. I'm not gonna try again with that, but, yeah, that was random. And yeah, there was a funny line, too, where Princess was poking fun at her boyfriend's pickup line, which I really liked that line. And, now, this was another one of the problems that this movie had. It was more of a technical problem, which surprised me. The first scene where the characters are in the billiards place together, the music got extremely loud. And it got so loud that I could not really hear the voices of the people on screen. And there was another scene later on where a similar thing happened. So, yeah, and then there's a scene where Cardi B Jr., a.k.a. Godzilla Ass, is meeting with Princess and her gang, or I guess it's just Princess, and, you know, the way that they framed the shot, it was like her ass was, like, practically almost as big as the landmark in the background. And then there was a hilarious meeting scene that, to me, is, like, almost, it rivals Goodfellas. And it ends in a gunfight where, like, the black gang, or Princess's gang, I don't know, I can't remember if their gang has a name. I think it's just Princess's algorithm business. They're meeting with these stupid white guys that are like, we don't want to do business with you because we're racist, probably. And then the music builds up. And this was a problem in the scene, was like the music was telling you what was going to happen. You know, like in it was too overt. And you think about like The Dark Knight, and you think about like scenes where the Joker would show up. Would they play the Joker's theme before Joker would come on screen? You know, if they did, it would be at a very low level. Like the chase sequence with the cars and the trucks and everything, you know, they right off the bat in that sequence, they play his theme at a very low level. But then, like in the sequence where they're at the party in the skyscraper and the Joker shows up and he has the whole interaction with Rachel, you know, they don't play any music with him until after he's already showed up. You know, they play a little, I think, like, they play a little build-up music to that, but then when he shows up, finally, they play the music. But in this, it's like, it's telling you what's going to happen. It's too loud, it's too obvious, and it totally ruins the supposed shock of the scene. There was no shock in the scene, but it was actually still pretty good. And then, I guess this was like the white guy's brother who died. one of the white guys, his brother dies, and he goes up to him. And this is another problem the movie had, is like every time a character was gonna die, or his friend was dying or something, they'd go up to them, and the way that they'd act to them was just so bizarre. And in this instance, he goes up to his friend, and he pokes him, and he's like, Jack! 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 And then he just randomly leaves him. Like, that was so weird. And even, like, that's his brother, too. Like, that is just fucking stupid. That is so goofy. And then, I will say, the interrogation scene, well, there's a couple of interrogation sequences, but, like, yeah, there was this one where it was, like, the black police guy interrogating Omar. I thought that was actually a good scene, but that was unfortunate because that was, I think, the other scene where the music was too loud for the voices, which that is a hard thing to do because, like, it really is tough to know, like, what is, like, really the correct volume. Like, I looked online. They have, like, a recommendation of, like, just in general, put it at this volume for that and that and that. And it doesn't even work. And so, like, it's, like, all, like, different, you know? And so, these scenes just needed to be adjusted. Now, the movie was getting kind of stale at this point. You know, I was kind of struggling here. And, because what it reminded me of was, you guys know, like, the sequences in Breaking Bad that don't have Jesse or Walter at all? You know, that's kind of like what this movie reminded me of, you know? kind of like what if you made, like, a spin-off show about Lydia, which I would actually watch because Lydia is fucking hot. Like, she was, like, a huge crush that I had as a teenager, and I sent her in a Breaking Bad pillow, and she signed it. And then I snuggled the pillow so much that her signature wore off. So I had to throw it in the trash. Yeah. Anyways, and then, like, Princess and her friends, they need to launder money so that they can buy buildings or something. It's just all this, like, business talk in this movie. A lot of, like, I want to take over that. Well, that person wants to take over that. And, well, let's take over that together. We can do business with that. But we need the business here in the meetings. And one of the things was, like, they needed to launder money. And they meet this white chick who's she's a special girl. Because she is really, really dumb. She is, like, the dumbest white girl in this movie. That's her character's name from now on. The dumbest white girl in this movie. And the reason why that's so funny is because I think she probably is the only white girl in this movie. So, she's trying to level with Princess because Princess is being unreasonable. It's one of those scenes where, like, the character's like, I need you to do this for me. And then the other character's like, no, we can't do that. We can only do this now. And the main character's like, no, you are going to do what I say. And so this white girl, the dumbest white girl in this movie, she says, I've moved glaciers to be here. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The saying is, isn't it like I've moved mountains to be here? Or, like, you know, you can move mountains, or what's that saying? Like, if you blow on a mustard leaf, you can move a mountain? Like, I don't know, but, like, nobody ever says I move glaciers to get where I am. Like, could you imagine, like, running for president? And which probably somebody should do at this point because the people running are pieces of shits. But, like, if you ran for president and you just got up in front of people and said, I have moved glaciers, and if you put me in the White House, I'm going to move even more glaciers. You know, people would be like, what? What? You know, they would be like, are you serious? Like, yeah, because when you think about glaciers, you think about saving the glaciers so that they don't melt and the earth doesn't flood or whatever. And so you don't think about moving glaciers, because why would you want to move a glacier? Why? So you can reach the North Pole easier? Like, what is that? In fact, you don't want to move mountains either. That's bad too. That would destroy the world. Like, oh, hey, I'm just going to pick up that mountain and move it over to New York. So anyways, and then also, the dumbest white girl in this movie, she, you know, the one who washes money in the laundry for Princess, she has computers that she's apparently working with, and the computers are not even turned on. And what's really hilarious, though, is just the fact that, like, later on in the movie, there's a scene where Cardi B Jr. managed to fit her ass in the elevator and in the building, and she encounters the dumbest white girl in this movie, and at that point, for some reason, the computers are all turned on, and it's like, but it's dark. It's dark. This stupid white girl is working in a dark office. She's damaging her eyes. She's straining her eyes. And she's gonna need glasses. And it's ridiculous. Like, just, what the fuck? And then, okay, Omar, by the way, he was one of the best things about the first movie, which is rare because whenever, or I guess a lot of the times nowadays, when somebody makes a movie and then they also act in it, which I shouldn't be saying this because I'm doing this 7 times in my own movie, a lot of the times they're terrible. But he did a really good job in the first movie, and in this movie he was totally wasted for like the whole 3/4 of the movie, because like after the first movie I assumed that he would be like the main antagonist, because he's kind of like the Green Goblin to Princess's Spider-Man, and so like it was kind of weird how that shifted, and instead he spends the entire first half, and I'm not kidding, the entire half of this movie in an interrogation room, being interrogated about some shit. It's just, and you know what, that was not good, because there's a lot of indie movies that do that are bad, or a lot of bad movies in general. Like, I think about, like, Puppet Master 5 is the first movie that comes to mind. You know, where Andre Toulon, basically the entire movie, he's in the interrogation room being interrogated about the events of the fourth movie, or I can't even remember because that was bad. Puppet Master got bad, and then they never recovered, and then fans made better movies than they did, and now they're still pieces of crap. But anyways, yeah, I just really wanted him to get out of the interrogation room, and thankfully he did. Ooh. I just got a love tarot reading email. It says, we have big dreams for our love stories. Yes, we do. Why do I keep getting all these love emails? Like, that's kind of sad. And then there's a character who just randomly comes back like it's straight out of an MCU film. It's some character that Princess shot in the first movie, and he bails Omar out, I guess, and like, but he's also just back from the dead, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to say here. Like, I don't even remember who he was, because like I watched the first movie in 2021, and it's 2024 now. In case you didn't know, Because some people are going to be watching this video like 100 years from now and being like, God, that was a weird time, 2024. So anyways, then the Indian gang comes to attack Princess because the algorithm didn't check out, which is kind of weird. It's just... and then Princess's guy, LaRue, gets killed unexpectedly by one of the Indian gang characters, which this whole Indian gang subplot was a complete waste of time. It should have been cut from the film, because the whole plot about, like, the algorithms don't work. Why? Like, they don't work for the Indian gang. Why? Because they're racist towards Indians? Like, I don't understand. Why is the algorithm working for Princess, but that same algorithm isn't working for the Indian people? That's so bad. And it doesn't make sense. That should have been refined or cut from the movie. Because, like, the whole thing, too, with... the Indian gang killing that LaRue guy, and then they play this montage of clips from him in the first movie, clips of him. Sorry, and that was a very strange choice too, because usually you only do that with characters that are really, really, really beloved. Like, didn't they do that with Apollo Creed and Rocky IV, where Rocky is driving? And you see the flashbacks of Apollo while the sad 80s music is playing. Like, I don't think they really do that a lot, though. Like, just imagine how funny it would be in, like, maybe like The Walking Dead, because that show went on for a long time. If every time a character died, you had like a 1 minute like clip montage, like, that would be so outrageous and bad. And so I thought that was stupid. And the only way that I would say that would be appropriate is if the actor died in real life, because then it would hit close to home, and then at the end of the movie you could have like a tribute to them again. And that would feel like a lot more like reasonable. But like the fact that it's just like, oh, the character dies, that random character. Like, she's in a gang. She's in a criminal gang. What do you expect? What do you expect these people to sit around and play tiddlywinks with each other? What do you expect to happen? Obviously some bitches are gonna die. And then... Princess goes into a gas station. She puts on a hat for some reason. I don't know, but like they try to like emphasize what she does in the scene, like she's doing some sort of a transformation or something. It's very bizarre. But she puts on a hat, and then she ignores her boyfriend's call, and then she asks a cashier for ibuprofen while she has blood all over her face. And then she asks one of her minions for a ride on the phone. Very strange series of events. And then there's a strip club scene. Now, this is another scene where it's just all about guys wanting to take over stuff. Like, that's this whole plot. Like, at this point, like, I was losing the plot. Completely. But what was really weird about the strip club scene was, like, I thought that in general you're not supposed to touch strippers. Like, I wouldn't know, but I thought, because like in GTA, don't you get in trouble in GTA 5 if you do that? Like, that's how I base things off of GTA 5. But like this strip club scene, there's this random guy, or it might have been a girl, I don't even know, because they never show their face, but this person is like randomly touching the strippers' asses as they're twerking and shit. They're just like twerking nonstop. And to me it just looked like it was like a petting zoo. Like it like it's like, why you're not allowed to touch a stripper when they're doing that, right? Like, you're not supposed, but for some reason, like, there was this guy who was just constantly touching on them over and over and over again, and I was like, what is going on here? And then, yeah. And then, the opening scene conflict, too, you know, where they show the, her getting shot, at in the opening of the movie, that was really not well built up, too. That was another main flaw of the film. And then, somehow, there's a conversation where, you know, of course, the racist, white, evil character, he is talking to a detective, and this detective, I don't know how Dom Campbell got him, but somehow he got Robert Duvall to be in this movie, and, so anyways, like, the racist, white, evil character is ratting out, the black gang, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And then there's this whole conversation. It comes out of nowhere. It is so hilarious. It is probably the highlight scene of this film, for sure, in terms of entertainment value. This random white character who's on screen for like 5 minutes of the movie, he's talking to his stepdad, and he's like, you know, you weren't around, you left us and shit, and you wouldn't help us, or you wouldn't guide us, or something, while they play this sad music, and then the stepdad is like, how dare you blame me for you and your brother's bullshit. That was a really hilarious line, too. You know, that just came out of nowhere. And so it's stuff like that where, like, oh, let's have this random scene with, like, 10 minutes of, like, this random conversation with these random characters that we don't even care about. It's not built up to at all. And that's, like, where it leads me to believe that, like, this movie, there wasn't any idea for it. There wasn't, like, a big plan behind it of, like, we wanted to do this from the very beginning, which is what I thought after the ending of the first movie. It just felt like, let's just do random stuff, kind of like a TV show. You know, this felt kind of like the Female Hustler episode 2. And the next one will be episode 3, Revenge of the Godzilla Ass. And, yeah. Princess is betrayed, which surprised everyone, even the writer and director. And, the fight with her and the random white guy was pretty okay, though. And then randomly, I don't know, I can't remember, they didn't even really explain to me how the boyfriend shows up at the hotel. Like, he just randomly shows up. I guess it's because he's a detective, which is revealed at the end. But, like, at this point, we didn't know that, and she didn't know that, so it was very weird that he just randomly showed up, unless he's, like, stalking her or something. And then he has to go on a shopping trip to buy her clothes from Walmart. And I thought, it's too bad, because that would have actually been another funny scene. I know that Walmart will, like, shoot you if you shoot a video in Walmart, but, like, that would have been a really funny sequence to, like, see a character from this movie have to go into Walmart to get clothes for this crime lord, this female hustler, this ebony, what do they call it? Ebony hustler? So I guess you have a female hustler and an ebony hustler, and they should make, like, a versus movie called The Ebony Hustler versus... But wait, what the hell is this? There's another one. There's another movie from 2022. This must be another rip-off movie. It's called The Hustler, and then the sequel is called A Hustler's Son, and then 2024 Tears of a Hustler. What the... What is that? But why are there so many hustles? Why are there's another movie called Hustle with a bald guy on it. There's Hustle 2, Hustle with some old person. There's a hustle with a guy and a girl. Like, what? Holy Hustle? What is Holy Hustle? Hustle Down, Comedy Hustle, Hustle Beach, A Hustler's Son 2? Oh, that's a different thing? What is this, Super Hustle? Oh, there's another The Hustle with, like, Snoop Dogg or something? Born to Hustle, Low Key Hustle. What is going on with all of the hustle? Why is everyone so obsessed with hustling? Seriously, Mumbai Hustle? Oh god, that one's got like John Voight in it. That's a mark of bad quality. Okay. We've looked at enough hustles for today. What's that? Keisha Takes the Block. That looks pretty bad. Okay, I don't even... Fuck. So then, this part really, really pissed me off. It really puzzled me. It really made me feel like I was getting well, it felt like the last month or so working on the film. That's what it felt like. And so, the Indian gang shows up, and for some reason, Princess's gang is going to help them after they killed her favorite minion. Very weird. You know, like, I'm sorry, but if you did that, I would never help you again. I don't forgive and I don't forget. Well, I do forgive, but I don't forget. And so, you know, I didn't understand that. You know, that didn't really resonate with me. Because, like, Bug, the kid gangster, apparently he updated their algorithms and they last 4 months. So it's like an algorithm update. Like, that was weird too, but pretty hilarious. So then Princess is mad about Callie, and she says a very funny line. She says, "He practically took my business from underneath me, so I consider him a threat. I don't take threats lightly." But Princess, you let that Indian gang kill your favorite minion, and then you gave them a new algorithm update. Like, isn't that, like, a threat as well? And so, like, you took that threat, right up the you-know-what. And, that was weird. Very weird. Should have had Omar as the main villain of the movie instead of Callie. He's Princess's Green Goblin. She's got to get rid of him sooner or later. You know, because honestly, I know that they could probably make like 1 million of these movies in the series. But I can guarantee you, I'm willing to make a bet on my life. I'm willing to spill blood over this bet. Like, take a little blade, slice open my hand, and hold it out over the poster of this movie to cover up the abomination in the center. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was mean. I'm just kidding. But, like, I'm willing to bet that, like, at the end of this series, it's all going to have to culminate with Omar facing off against Princess, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it feels like it's destined to happen at this point. Like, yeah, anyways. Princess meets with someone she calls Big D. Big D. And he's got a side bitch. And she looks like a McFrappe. That's what I thought. Like, as soon as I saw her, I was like, wow. He ordered himself a McFrappe, and he said, "I will take the humankind." And she is like a McFrappe with red and black hair, and apparently she's really good with a gun. But she's not really good with having dialogue in the movie, because I don't even think she speaks more than like once or twice. So Omar and Princess are forced to settle their disagreement so they can take down Callie. That's kind of cool, but they weren't really fighting each other the whole movie. Omar was in the interrogation room and Princess was doing stuff, business meetings, and so like that would have been more effective if the whole movie it would have been Omar versus Princess, you know, constantly attacking each other, going back and forth, but instead it's like out of nowhere, like, okay, we got to settle this disagreement to take down the real bad guy. But this is when the movie got good, I guess. You know, this is when the movie got better, I should say. It got a lot better. It felt like, this is good. This should have been the whole movie. So they meet Cardi B Godzilla ass in the billiards, and she almost shoots Princess until Queen McFrappe shoots her. And that was pretty funny. I mean, that character, by the way, that probably the worst character in this entire series so far was Cardi B Jr. because her character was nothing. They said she's like a Harley Quinn of Columbus, Ohio, and I didn't get that at all from her character. Her character felt like an afterthought. In terms of like, if she was gonna be the Harley Quinn, then you have to have the Joker. Like, she killed her boyfriend in the opening scene of the movie. So maybe she should have been with Omar. Nope, couldn't have happened because they had to do this stuff. So she needed a Joker then. That's how that works. Harley Quinn was created for Joker. She wasn't created so that she could run around and be a lesbian with poison ivy like everyone thinks nowadays. She was created so that she could be the Joker's bitch. And like, yeah, she's crazy and she's insane and she could probably could kill the Joker if she wanted to, but she's an accessory to the Joker. She's his woman. You know, like, I know that sounds quote unquote old fashioned to say. I don't fucking give a fuck. It's true. Like, they're counterparts to each other. It's like when you find your other half. You know, when you find your other half, you know that they're yours and that you're theirs. You know, and so for her to be like the Harley Quinn, it's like, no, she's not. She's a Godzilla ass. And okay, I'm gonna move on from that. I hated that character. I hated that whole story. In general, too, I will say one of the best things about this movie is Princess's acting. I thought that she did a really good job in this movie. She did a much better job than in the first movie, so she's improved, and she's taken the direction. There was only one scene where I felt like she wasn't very good, and there was a scene where she was in a car, and she was just, like, mumbling her lines out, which she does sometimes. And it's like sometimes she's really not in the mood to film, so she just mumbles her lines out. Like, yeah, like that's kind of like what it was like. But anyways, one of the big twists of the movie is that Princess's boyfriend was a detective, and he was trying to take Callie down ever since the beginning. So ever since he went up to Princess and said, hey, you like tacos? And we all got to have somebody to talk to in our lives or something. I can't remember, but that line is like legendary, iconic movie quote by now. And but I thought that was actually a really good twist, particularly because he's a really good actor. And so it's fun to have him be more prominently in this movie. It's just that it wasn't well built up to at all. And I really feel like, you know, looking at the end of this movie, it's almost like the person writing it wrote it not knowing what was going to happen, and then at the end he was like, oh yeah, these ideas were really good, I'll put these at the end. And I feel like if someone else were to take the good ideas at the end of the script, like Omar and Princess team up, and the boyfriend is a detective, I feel like if you took those ideas and wrote a new draft of the script, then you could really, really make it a good movie throughout the whole thing, utilizing those ideas and planting little things, because that's really how good movies are made, is where you know where it's going to go, and so then the whole time you can play around with things, and you can drop little hints here and there, and you can make it really, really interesting for the audience. And then the epilogue I thought was bad. Princess wants to take over Miami, and it's just another kind of scene where it's like it's the same old scene over and over again. I want this. You're not going to give it to me? Oh, okay. Well, F you. Oh, you're going to give it to me. Oh, thank you. Bye. And then Callie gets out of prison. Shrug. He's in Ohio. She's in California or Florida or whatever, so who cares? But who knows? He might come back. So my food review for this movie is... This movie is like when you're on a road trip and you stop at the gas station, and instead of getting out of the car yourself to get the gas station snacks, you trust somebody else to get them for you. And they go in there and they get stuff that you don't like at all, and just random crap that it's like, what the hell? Like Fritos? I don't like Fritos. I like Cheetos. You know, like in Breaking Bad with Hank and Marie, where he was like, Marie, I wanted Cheetos, not Fritos. And they're minerals. I have minerals. You know, like that. That's what it's like, this movie. It's like, hey, you know, I like cookies. Oh, so you like cookies, huh? Well, I'm going to get you a Twinkie. Twinkies suck, by the way. They're terrible now. Like, they're the worst. Like, they're just the worst. And so it's like, you know, oh, you want Doritos? Oh, you want Funyuns? Oh, okay, we're gonna get you some Funyuns instead. You want a Dr. Pepper? Is that what you want, Mr. Marco? Okay then. Instead of a Dr. Pepper, we're gonna get you a Diet Coke. Or a Coke Zero. You know, like, that's what this movie's kind of like, because it feels like 3/4 of it is like a movie that I don't know why it was made. And then the last fourth was like, wow, that was pretty good. That was almost, like, I think better than the first one. And if the whole movie was like that part, it would have been definitely the best of the three movies. So I don't know if I could say whether or not, again, still, I don't know if I could say that this is better or worse than Temporary Suspicion, because Temporary Suspicion had a really good idea, and it tried to do that the whole movie. It didn't just randomly, you know, spring those ideas in at the end. So anyways, please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of The Female Hustler Part 2. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Because regardless of whether or not how negative I was in this video, I enjoyed the last fourth of this movie. And that's good. You know, so goodbye everybody. See you soon.